On to reporting. Are open rates important? We love to say they're not, right? I think that's wrong, right? I really do think it's wrong. Um, because you could open it up and look and go, and especially if you have brick and mortar, right? So you have brick and mortar and online, they could look at it and go, oh, these are cool, but you know what? I'm going to be at this store anyway. I'm going to look for it there, right? Or they may tell a friend of theirs, hey, you shop at Costco, look, there's this on sale, right? I mean, there's all kinds of ways that could influence a purchase or an action. Just because they didn't click doesn't mean that open doesn't have value, right? Now, does it have value for proving out something exactly? No, but it has the same amount of value that guy who sells you display ads and all the other stuff that says impressions are important and you believe them and you spend money on them. If you believe that, then you have to believe an email open has value, right? Um, so open rates are clearly important to a point. Do they tell you a lot? Well, they tell you whether your timing was good, day of send was good, subject line was good, right? Open rates increase because of really good subject lines. So there's some benefit when you're looking at stuff like that. But we all tend to look at the click to open rate, right? And that is the one to look at for sure, because it tells you that what you put in front of the person, they found valuable enough to make that click. They decided that whether it was finished reading an article or getting to a sale or looking at a product or watching a video, listening to a podcast, they took an action. And that's email's job, is to get people to take an action. It's to get them to move from the inbox to where we want them to go. We can't necessarily always sell them something in the inbox, but we can get them to go to where they can. So click to open rate is really important. And that comes down to content. It comes down to layout. It comes down to design. It comes down to offer. It comes down to discounts, everything to the graphic of the image that you're selling. You know, it needs to look good. Or the synopsis of the content needs to be really, really enticing to grab your attention to want to read the rest of that article. And it also tells you, once you get all that data, it tells you what's important to your audience. What are they clicking on? What aren't they clicking on is just as important. So if you're a publisher with content, you know, these content got lots of clicks, these don't. This type of content never gets a good click. We should stop creating it, stop wasting time on it, and create more of the stuff that they want. Same thing when it comes to products. Certain products get lots of traffic, other products don't. If you have products that consistently don't get clicks, replace them with other products, test other products. Or if you're trying to sell those products, make sure you put them up top, because clicks generally get more at the top and get less as you go down the email, because people don't always scroll completely. They're always going to focus what they see first. So if you're trying to sell something that doesn't normally get a lot of clicks, give it a good discount, move it to the top. And that's what the content and calls to actions. That's why that's important, to understand what people want. And it's best to give them what they want. You'll keep them happy. The day and time of send, we talk about this a lot. So you may have been in that process where, oh, we always send on Tuesdays, especially businesses, right? So B2B emails, I hear it all the time. So we send Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because Monday people are too busy, Friday they're halfway out the door, and weekends suck, right? That's what everybody says. Well, believe it or not, that's really wrong, right? So we see Mondays do really well. We see Saturdays do exceptionally well, especially now during this time, but even before COVID. What we found with Saturdays was open rates stayed about the same, sometimes dropped a percent or two, but click-throughs were much higher. And what we ended up finding out was people, especially business people that are busy during the week, have a little more time on the weekend to actually click and look at, read something or do something that they don't have time to do during the week. So test Saturdays if you're a B2B guy, right? A B2B person. Try Saturdays. It's worth trying. But try different days of the week and try different times. You know, we have a client that does extremely well. They send their email at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, this is such a bad time to send the email, right? a B2B email because it's going to be buried under all the other crap that comes in during 3 a.m. to whenever they decide to open their emails. But we tested it and it works for them. It's crazy. It's just something I would not have thought would have worked, but them it does. But in general, you want to send the email after they've opened their initial stuff, B2B on the B2B side, right? So you want to send it after, so 10 a.m., 11 a.m. their time, something new, even right after lunch can work. But test it. It's hard to tell, right? Everybody's list responds differently. For consumers, it's kind of wide open because everybody's home all day. So they all have where at work, they might check their email a few times, but at home, they're checking their email all day long. So it's probably a little bit more wide open, but it's worth testing. And also look at the device use they open. So if you have a high open rate on mobile devices, make sure that mobile experience both in the email client or in their mobile phone and the website, right? So if your emails render and they're responsive, they look great on mobile, but they go to a website that isn't very mobile friendly, that's going to cause you problems. So understand what devices people are using. Are they mostly using desktop? Are they tablets? Are they mobile phones? In most cases, mobile phones are 50% or more of open rates nowadays. Some businesses, it's less, it's more desktop, but take a look at that. Then true conversion attribution and the nudge effect. I talked about that a little bit before. Conversion is always difficult. Make sure you have good tracking because conversion tracking and getting attribution for your channel is important in order to get budget if you want to do more with your channel, right? So making sure you get attribution for the sales that email is driving is hyper important, not only to let whoever you're working for, whether it's yourself or someone else, that it's working and doing really well and driving all of this revenue. But if it is doing that and you want to get some extra money to do more automations or more testing or hire an additional person to help with production or use an agency, you need to show the C-suite dollars, right? You need to show them how much you're already attributing to your email channel and how if you do these things, you can help either reduce man hours or increase revenues or increase customer retention. Don't tell them how you're going to do it when you talk to the C-suite because they don't care and it's just going to make their head hurt. Talk about dollars, talk about value, talk about revenue, talk about customer acquisition and retention, things that they can understand. And inactive doesn't always mean inactive. So again, we talk about this and it's a good time of year to talk about it. There are a few sites that I only shop on during the holidays, but I do every holiday. And if you go by what a lot of people say, which is, well, if they're inactive after 6 months and haven't opened an email, you should get rid of them. Well, no, you shouldn't. You should look back and go, what is their history of purchasing, right? Do they only purchase during certain times of the year? And you may want to reduce sending to them during the other parts of the year, but you still want to keep them because come Christmas, they're going to buy again, right? And I'm going to go back to those sites that I never open emails all year long. And now I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to look for their emails. And I purposely look at my spam folder because I haven't interacted with them. That's where they are now, because that's what Gmail does. It says, oh, you stopped opening these emails for 3 months. I'm going to put them in the spam folder. So I have to go look for those deals now there. But, and inactive in email doesn't mean they're inactive in buying from you or even being active on your site, reading content. Look at the multiple touch points, track them through multiple ways, understand that it shouldn't be an email only decision what's active and inactive, especially on the e-commerce side.